This video is intended to describe a lightblade talisman named Abundance that is of a pretty exotic, high-yield vibratory nature. And to put things in perspective with another device in this litter of light tech and development, is this will be roughly a standard size of a lightblade talisman, which is virtually half the size of this guy, as well as the extremely complex high vibratory nature of this device being a very exotic variant, very high threshold vibratory production device, as opposed to this little guy. Put that guy back over here. The aspect of why it's named the Abundance Talisman is based on a particular ratio seen in this primary ignition blade band, which I'll get into right now. The aspect of golden healer quartz works as a perfect subcapacitation agent between the green ray prominence to be a gold-white light Christ source higher heart connection frequency of crystalline Christ frequency energy. So that direct alignment of the emanation of the great central sun of creation is the primary blade bands have its concentration with the different green rays in between to further expand that particular abundance ratio. So like I mentioned, golden healer quartz into peridot. Peridot is an incredible third and fourth chakra stimulant. It is an earth elemental frequency that is truly tremendous for expansion of growth and bridging the point between the third and fourth chakra in perfect tandem, and can be construed to be a perfect vibratory analog frequency of chlorophyll, the energy of growth. So in that aspect, it brings great positivity, growth to all endeavors, which are most certainly aspects of abundance in all formats of life. Then going to golden healer quartz once again, then into the legendary emerald. Emerald is pretty much the king of the green ray mineral due to the fact of its impeccable heart chakra receptive nature. It is a classic stone of abundance that's been well notarized throughout humanity for thousands of years and utilized by royalty for this exact purpose of being a very opulent, abundant frequency aspect of being a true precious stone of great notoriety that most certainly holds up water today in this day and age of metaphysical application, as far as I'm concerned, as being a true stone of abundance. So then golden healer quartz, then into peridot. So of course the ignition cycle of the golden healer quartz, peridot, golden healer quartz, and the emerald runs the ignition sequence like so. So this would be the primary blade band, which is the heaviest focus of the energy in the circuit to be the abundant spectrum. But obviously seen here, it's a very high yield exotic variant of a typical lightblade talisman, which will make more sense as the progression of the video continues. So, continuing with the aspect of the blade band circulating into here, it's this first lateral band of the tried and true transmutation ratio, consisting of hematite and smoky quartz, which work identically together to ground all excess energy through the root chakra into the earth stars and into the earth meridian matrix for processing. So that actually has manifold purposes. Of course, turning negativity into positivity, the act of transmutation is inherently beneficial. But the aspect too of basically making a very strong grounding point and purification to ground all this excess high threshold production this is bound to produce is of the essence to tangibilize the abundance frequency. Most importantly, of bringing all the energy into the earth for reprocessing to, of course, make the magic real. So that has many tier purposes, particularly the higher vibratory threshold of the device. The more important the transmutation ratio to ground excess energy in the earth is of the essence. For the intended goal to have the tangible, practical, pragmatic aspect of this whole intentional device actually land into earth and make it real. So that'd be the transmutation ratio, continuing like so on both sides. And at the very apex of the blade band, seen right here, is once again hematite to ground all excess energy into the earth, then clear quartz to work as a neutral accelerant and subcapacitator of the blade band of so, with pyrite. Pyrite is actually a yang masculine cousin to hematite that has a very strong stimulation to the solar plexus, which is excellent for actually directing and grounding high frequency energy into focus and form. Then clear quartz, then into the lovely prehnite, a lovely stone what I consider to be a very Raphaelic, angelic frequency emanation that is very, very nice third and fourth chakra stimulant, and is a tremendous healer in its own right. So that'd be just the apex band where the necklace will eventually be installed to contain the circuit vaguely running a concept of most likely a figure 8 to be an homage to perpetual recirculation of energy. So I'll go ahead and I'll get into the blade face over here. A very, very special component at the very apex of this guy right here is actually smoky celestial quartz. Smoky celestial quartz has been a staple of light tech for many years, based on the aspect of to be an impeccable auto-regulation governor based on one's highest self, highest good. So what that means in that application of a complex device is the aspect of one's highest self in tandem with the resonance of this vibratory device has a very strong auto-regulation feature that will actually govern the energy to the highest good and basically prevent fryouts of all kinds is the aspect of celestial quartz. Hence, in wands, they are absolutely a staple of light tech. And very luckily for this little guy right here, when I went to acquire my acquisitions for the crystals for this schematic, this guy actually was set aside by a dear colleague of mine here in town who had a sense that I would need it. And so for such an ambitiously high vibratory platform of a, like I said 5 times now, highly exotic vibratory threshold version of a lightblade talisman, having the smoky celestial quartz in a small format to be able to fit into the talisman was quite advantageous to give the auto-regulation required to get the most out of this sheer, overwhelming, abundant force in a talisman format. It's a very special story, and I don't get the privilege very often to actually install these smoky celestial quartz into a talisman variant because they're rather hard to acquire in the appropriate sizing for a talisman rating. So this was actually kind of a little bit of a miracle as far as I'm concerned. That's me, of course, nerding out on the aspect of this development. And next to that smoky celestial quartz right here is Tibetan black quartz, which is another one of those amazing master healers in the mineral kingdom that actually has a strong submission to the top and bottom of the entire light body in unison, as well as a very massive expansion to the higher chakras, but also the dynamic grounding point of Earth. So it's a very, very potent metaphysical stone from Tibet, and of course it has that natural Om essence frequency in the resonance, which makes a very nice etheric purification emanation, and another, like I guess to say it, psychic protection through unified field consciousness manifest in that capacity for spaces, places, and beings under the jurisdiction of this wielder. So obviously, as a preface too, as I get further into this video, this is a very serious device for a very serious recipient who's doing wonderful things in service to creation, so its threshold is really, really intense by design and privilege, actually, truth be told. So, right here is Libyan gold tektite, the lovely gold ray stone of ancient Egyptian utilization. It's a very powerful stimulant to the sacrum and solar plexus chakra, as well as the entire light body as a whole, and has a very, very intense focus on the solar plexus, and was utilized by the pharaohs of old to be put in the scarabs, basically carved into scarabs to be put in their breastplates. So, a tremendously powerful stone of manifestation, and that, of course, of abundance. Obviously, a lot of these aspects will be construed to be augmentations of abundance in one closed loop circuit, so that's kind of a given. Then, next to the Libyan gold tektite, above that would be its green ray legendary cousin, moldavite. Moldavite, of course, is a very potent, powerful green ray storm elemental source alignment connection, which has associations to the Holy Grail, and is quite a very potent, fabled now at this point, powerful magical stone of synchronicity and one's dharmic template fully realized in tangible scope and scale to the conscious self. So that guy is quite legendary and most certainly a powerful component. Then above that, right here will be sunstone. Sunstone is an amazing sunny energy that stimulates the sacrum and solar plexus chakras. It has a tremendously positive, I guess you could say, positive, beneficent masculine energy of projection. So, of course, that aspect plays a critical role in the tried and true abundance ratio, as far as I've been developing, where the aspect of the sunstone works as a nice projection of blessings. So the reception of the green ray intake of the heart chakra has a very strong input, closed loop circuit for the abundance of energy. So obviously this energy feels very, very good. Sunstone, it's very, very, very fun, like sunny stuff, and hence actually I utilize it on this ring finger pretty often to keep my energy, very sunny, beneficent, particularly my output of all my endeavors. And so it's very much a stone of great solar blessing, one way to put it too. Then right above that, right here, is black tektite. Black tektite is a product of nuclear meteorite impacting sand to carry that extraterrestrial cosmic jolt into reality, and hence the black gray stone has a very strong stimulation through the Earth stars all the way up through the chakra column, being a very powerful Kundalini stimulant, as well as a very powerful but black gray ground up vibrational enhancement threshold broadcast, which is very advantageous and virtually a staple in all light tech and all variations. Then above that, right here, is lovely Sedona red rock, which I had the privilege of actually gathering myself in my favorite vortex in all of Sedona between Bell Rock and Courthouse Mesa. So this particular frequency has a very dramatic, intensive grounding of energy based on the aspect of its iron-based, hence its oxidized red. And it has a very, very strong stimulation of higher etheric chakra connection with the ground points. Hence, Sedona is one of those legendary vortice places on the earth. And tremendously powerful for grounding high etheric energy. Then above that is the lovely legendary Herkimer diamond, which is from Herkimer, New York, and is a lovely clear ray, very, very vibrant variation of the quartz family that makes for a very powerful higher chakra stimulation by itself, and also an application of a circuit makes a very tremendous intensive amplification of the entire broadcast. So an amazingly vibrant divine realm frequency and another basically accelerant to the entire structure. Then I'll go ahead and flip over this side of the blade face. So this right here is blue lace agate to be a water elemental stabilizer of the 5th chakra that is very advantageous for stabilizing one's highest truth into reality. So naturally, the stability of different agates and jaspers will be mentioned individually as I get to them, but they all play off of each other to have the full stability of earth, fire, water, and wind to ensure the stabilized background of the elements is well ensured in such a complex device, but I'll get into that later. But back on topic, blue lace agate is the aspect also of stabilizing one's truth of the birthright of abundance, plays a critical role to, of course, be able to be in that truth sphere and be stable in that aspect. Hence, the prominence of the blue lace agate on the blade face was of the essence to stabilize that abundant truth, which is actually indeed our divine birthright, as far as I'm concerned. So this right here is serpentine, actually from my lovely backyard here in Mount Shasta. Serpentine is a tremendous Kundalini stimulant that stimulates the serpentine energy of the full entire dynamic range of activation. So it's a very powerful cellular respiration healer in that regard as well. And not to mention it's a frequency from Mount Shasta. Then above that is the lovely legendary Seraphinite. Truly an incredible master healer of his age, named after the seraphim archangels, and is obviously a green ray connotation that has a strong heart chakra stimulation, yet the entirety of Seraphinite makes it a stimulation through the entire chakra column from top to bottom, which is one of the more impeccable frequencies of aligning the entire I am template to the physical self and dismantling patterns of dis-ease from top to bottom in all spectrums. So truly an amazing master healer of this age and a frequency broadcast that I do love desperately and been well utilizing it for many years now. And I will have to say it's probably one of my top 5 favorite stones when I'm an obsessive nerd rock hound. And that's kind of something as a declaration is pretty serious. Anyhow, that's why, of course, that's there to be a tremendous healing seraphic agent to the abundance aspect to, of course, gain more vibrational compound interest through such an ambitiously potent device. Speaking of it ambitiously potent, so this power pack right here on the blade face is quite exotic and quite special. So I will start off with the core of this little power pack, which is actually a Herkimer diamond, just like the other side, to be a tremendous neutral amplifier of energy. Then next, terminated to the Herkimer diamond in the dead center, actually is an authentic white diamond. So diamond is a 10 out of 10 hardness in the wide spectrum carbon-based ray, which of course has a full light body stimulation and a very intense royalty energy. So obviously a stone of such ambition needed great amounts of opulence to really honor this exotic rendition of abundance. So the diamond is the quintessential precious stone of royalty and sovereignty and all things of that nature, and also known as a stone of invincibility. So having that little dose of that one guy right there, of course, not to mention these are all in a closed loop reactive circuit, goes a very long way, particularly with massive amplification with the Herkimer diamond as its host. Then the blade band around this little Herkimer diamond and white diamond is another stone of true precious stone opulence consisting of ruby, the king of the red ray root chakra stones, a stone of precious notoriety, and the most powerful red ray zest for life stimulant in the mineral kingdom, with clear quartz to be a natural subcapacitation acceleration into the blue sapphire. Blue sapphire, being the imperfect antithesis to ruby of the same hardness and same family, is a windowmental strong stimulant of the 5th and 6th chakras, a stone of great divine wisdom, and also known as royal wisdom. So, of course, these aspects in tandem with emerald work to really have all the precious stones of great notoriety that has been, of course, notarized in human history as being precious stones of magic, or just precious stones in general, are well represented in this cluster right here, to be a ridiculously opulent spectrum frequency broadcast in that capacity to be that of abundance. Not to mention, of course, having the very powerful renditions of the red and blue ray, and just have the strongest vibratory output of red and blue ray in the mineral kingdom, just like emerald, of the ruby and sapphire, make for a very powerful dynamic stimulation of hydrogen with the ruby, oxygen with the blue sapphire to be perpetual momentum balance, as well as cellular respiration. So that would be just the blade face components right there from this section. So we're going to go ahead and get into the section where the hood will once be installed once this video is completed. So obviously this lovely forest green leather right here will be installed to have many purposes. A, to be the green ray abundant color therapy resonance, to have the focus of the energy be very, very green in emanation, and B, to insulate all these subtle frequencies, seen like so. And then, of course, C, to protect the termination sequences of all these guys, because this guy will have a lot of work to do. So obviously, it being a functional, well-fortified tool to fulfill its purpose and live happily ever after with the recipient is of the essence. So this will have those purposes as well. And I guess D, I guess in that order, is aesthetics as well. It looks very nice. That's never my priority when it comes to my mad scientist crystalline endeavors. But yes, it does. It will look very nice. It'll look very finished once the green leather is installed on this device. And like I mentioned, that's not the prerogative, but it's a nice little cherry on top, I guess. That's part of the finished aspect before it flies the nest. Okay, so to keep things consistent, I will get straight into the agates and jasper section, which will of course play off each other. Like I mentioned down here, this would be the water elemental blue lace agate to be a stabilization of in the mineral kingdom of the fifth chakra. Then right here is red jasper, a strong stabilizer of the root chakra in the mineral kingdom. Then right here is fire agate, which stabilizes the base, sacrum, and solar plexus. Then over here is moss green agate. Moss green agate stabilizes the green ray heart chakra. Then right over here on the back side is grape agate. So grape agate actually is a purple ray agate that has a strong stimulation and, but most importantly, a stabilization to the 6th and 7th chakras. So by having the aspects of earth, fire, water, and wind all in the stabilized frequencies, makes a very advantageous spirit tool to be in perfect resonant balance with the four elements in a stabilized fashion. Particularly the more aggressive and exotic the threshold, the more the stability and the grounding comes into play for practical utilization, obviously. Self-evident when I say those things. Sometimes I am Captain Obvious. Okay. So over here is the lovely shungite. Shungite is quite in vogue this day and age for being famed for mitigating EMF non-natural energy wavelengths that can harm our subtle bodies. So even having a small dose of that lovely black gray stone that's quite in vogue right now goes a very long way to bring strong transmutation, purification of this entire threshold. Then right here is the lovely legendary labradorite. Labradorite is quite the powerful stone of magic and mysticism, as well as higher latent cities or psychic gifts, and a tremendously powerful insulator of energy as well, and a dramatic intensifier of magic. So obviously with such a high threshold device of abundant nature, having the extra boost to have the impulse to make theurgy, quantum shifts of energy in the structure goes a very long way. That's a whole long subject on labradorite, but I will keep it condensed, so hopefully this is under... I should give up on the time limit, obviously, and this guy is quite complex to describe. Anyhow, back on target. I digress. This right here is a lovely big piece of fulgurite. Fulgurite is petrified lightning, a power of lightning literally striking sand and containing that energy. Very ridiculously potent stuff for the entire light body from top to bottom. It literally is mimicking the energy resonance of the power of lightning, which is very rapid awakening and intensification. Not to mention in First Nation tribes, by medicine women and shamans, they would actually utilize fulgurite to intensify their prayers back to spirit, back to source, back to creator, to intensify their prayers as a person of magic. So that's a little fun fact about fulgurite. So even, like I mentioned many times, even a small dose will go a very long way intensely through the entire threshold of this device. So that brings a little more intensification spark of lightning through this entire construct. Then right here is the lovely white ray scolecite. Scolecite is a fantastic 6th, 7th, 8th non-physical chakra stimulant of white ray, quintessential stone of divinity actually in my opinion, and is a very powerful divine mind aligner and also brings great calm to the ego mind identity in the divine process. So a stone of the essence, quite simply, in such an ambitious project. Okay, I'm going to discuss this guy now. So this right here is blue zincite. Zincite is a rather intense frequency I use very sparingly based on its inherent volatility, due to the fact that it has a fire elemental nature virtually unrivaled in the mineral kingdom to basically blow through the lower three chakras with hurricane force to the highest octave. So obviously as a contingency, there's many different aspects of transmutation and stabilization involved in this construct before I ever even dream of implementing zincite in such a structure. Because zincite is like the force of a hurricane in fire that will blow through lower three chakras with unrivaled force to completely bring the optimum lower three in the highest dynamic range, which by itself can be quite volatile, much like the infamy moldavite receives these days from being a very inherently potent, unbelievably powerful stone. That would be zincite. So naturally, a little extreme power of creative force and fire with such a, I guess you could say, high threshold sorcery concept device would be very appropriate to be over the top, which is this guy in a nutshell. But luckily, as another contingency to such a volatile force, next in termination is kunzite. Kunzite is a lithium-based pink ray, high heart chakra stimulant of extreme divine love soothing. That's exactly why the scolecite and the kunzite are in direct termination with the zincite, so it's basically balanced out to not be too much like Macho Man Randy Savage with the intensity of this energy inherently, and to bring the calm divine peace to such an intensive lower three activating threshold. But very, very powerful stuff, zincite, and definitely one of those very volatile stones to be utilized in great moderation and great balance and many contingencies employed. Otherwise, it could be a very chaotic induction of frequency that could be rather volatile. So that's my disclaimer on that, but hence I've mentioned has many different buffers and subroutines to get the most out of it while it's being very well regulated so it behaves itself by itself basically. Okay. So that'd be just this side of the hood. Okay. I already mentioned the grape agate. This right here is Larimar, a lovely 5th chakra stimulant of great soothing and gaining quite notoriety in this day and age, being a very powerful oasis of calm energy. Then above that is the lovely legendary lapis lazuli, a quintessential wind 5th and 6th chakra stimulant, as well as a very well notarized frequency throughout humanity, It's a stone that is the favorite of millions for thousands of years for a good reason. It's a very powerful stone of ancient Egypt, quintessential stone of Isis, all that stuff, as well as it's being well notarized in a large scale of being a tremendous higher psychic mind activator and being in one's highest truth in connection to creation. Then, above that, right here, is a lovely piece of amber. Amber is another quintessential abundance frequency generator, well notarized to be a strong stimulant to the third chakra, and it's a very powerful sunny transmutation agent. So aspects of smoky quartz, of course, ground into Mother Earth very quickly to turn negativity into positivity, but the aspect of the amber makes a very sunny, positive energy, which has been associated with the aspects of abundance for quite a while now. And so having even a small dose of that guy will bring up that whole abundance frequency in a very sunny solar disposition to transmute negativity into positivity to have an abundant threshold. Then, right here is another very incredibly prominent master healer in the mineral kingdom named Star Argonite. Star Argonite is a tremendous, powerful calcite-based full light body activator. So the Star Argonite is a master healer based on the aspect of stimulation of the entire chakra column from top to bottom and rapidly dismantling patterns of dis-ease in all capacities that are not in alignment with the one's highest self, dharmic, light body activated blueprint, as well as any impediments to light body get rapidly cleared from stagnation from the field, yet very gently smoothed into the highest configuration based on the unified full stimulation activation. So it's one of those amazing master healers I use in virtually all light tech for this purpose. Particularly in tandem with Seraphinite, they work fantastic together to do the same kind of job and work in tandem to, like I said, dismantle patterns of dis-ease from top to bottom. Any stagnancies that are impeding the light body flow are rapidly addressed and healed and cleared by this guy by itself. So an amazing, incredible frequency in that regard. Okie dokie. So this right here is black obsidian, here from Mount Shasta. Black obsidian, like smoky quartz, is a tremendously powerful transmutation agent by grounding all excess energy in Mother Earth and turn negativity into positivity. In that same regard. Then right here is ruby and zoisite. Ruby and zoisite is a fantastic natural synergistic combination of the mineral kingdom that is quite potent. You have the natural intense precious stone zest of ruby, the unrivaled root chakra activation red ray stimulant in the mineral kingdom. Then you have the trifecta of the ability of having green zoisite, which is a very powerful heart-mind coherence engager. So obviously the heart-mind coherence is quite essential for all aspects of metaphysical and spiritual self-discovery as far as I'm concerned. So having that concentration of the zest for life with the discovery of the heart-mind's capacity is quite the powerful dynamic trifecta to have that stimulation on one's path. So naturally that's a very abundant concept right there too, to have the zest for life, to be in touch with who you really are, not what you think you are. Anyhow, so this right here is turquoise, a rather famous stone just like lapis, a favorite of millions for thousands of years. And it's a very powerful fifth chakra stimulant of the earth, fire, water, and wind spectrum, a great stone of wholeness and truth, that kind of thing. And also a classic stone of abundance as well. Virtually all stones of abundance have been represented here besides green jade, which I may actually put in after this video and inform the recipient so I have all abundance spectrums covered. Actually, I'm going to do that. So you can probably anticipate the green jade being installed above the selenite on both sides after this video is installed. Okay, so let's take a look here. Look very deeply. It's, of course, the engine section where the hood will be is very well fortified with wires. So I'll make sure I didn't forget anything for notarization, because once the leather is on there, it should be there the rest of its life. So it's definitely very critical not to miss anything in such an opulent device. That would be everything for this entire section. Okay, so at the very apex of the core of the device, right here is the lovely morganite. Morganite is an incredible pink-gray beryl, which is actually a cousin to emerald. So having the aspect of emerald being the primary focus, then having a nice little pink-gray complementary frequency of the same hardness of oftentimes 8.5 out of 10, gives the pink ray atomical structure a very dense oscillation of great power. Hence, these stones of royalty and precious stones of of course, the ruby, sapphire, and emerald all have very dense atomical structures, which makes them very powerful frequencies. So the oscillation of the density, of course, is very vivid and very intense. So that aspect, taking that of the pink ray, is perhaps the most powerful high heart love energy in the mineral kingdom. I actually do love morganite quite severely for being a royal take on the tremendous pink ray love frequency vibration divine unity high heart stimulant. So of course that goes really nice with this. Then the very apex of the device is a cinnabar sphere. Cinnabar is tremendously potent, very powerful mercury-based frequency, which is actually known to be a tremendous stone of alchemy and sorcery, as well as being very much in touch with the flows and nature of magic, as well as a massive, I guess, dharmic accelerant, just like moldavite and Libyan gold tektite. There's actually a few dharmic accelerants, but this guy is very intense to be a tremendous transmuter of negativity into positivity, or transmutation of the false self matrix into one's highest self blueprint very quickly with this frequency. So it also brings a tremendous aspect of theurgy, quantum matter manipulation magic. It's very, very powerful quintessential sorcery frequency. The wizard archetype is very much a appropriate fitting of this particular frequency, which of course I use sparingly because it's so darn powerful inherently, based on the aspect of its really powerful expeditization of one's highest path manifest. But like I mentioned 5 times at least, this is going to a very good recipient who is doing great things in service to creation. So the aspect of this much threshold in one construct device of extremely exotic high yield nature is very appropriate for this project. So this is a very intensely powerful variant of the Abundance Talisman. And, okay, last but not least, I saved these parts for last intentionally. So, of course, it's been about half an hour I've been discussing every single frequency on this device. I'm, of course, going to conclude with the selenite. So selenite by itself is a tremendous amplification of the entire structure, as well as it by itself makes a lovely purification of the 6th, 7th, 8th, and non-physical chakras back to the Godhead, which is, of course, is the gateway to the higher self-perception, to the conscious self. As well as it has a strong high-frequency stimulation of the body that actually diffuses stagnant energy from top to bottom very effectively. And where it really shines as spiritual is it takes the entire aforementioned frequencies discussed thus far in this half hour. It will purify all of these frequencies in tandem with the close-up circuit. It will harmonize all of them together, then amplify all of them together. When you have the aspect of purifying all these frequencies, then harmonizing them all together, then amplifying them together, that trifecta makes grounds for a truly effective, dynamic, powerful spirit tool, and hence selenite is of the essence for virtually all light tech as well, based on this self-purification, making it a very auto-reactive, dynamic frequency tool. Then next to the selenites are the 4 spectrums of kyanite, consisting of black, orange, green, and blue kyanite. Black kyanite rapidly bridges energy through the earth very quickly. Orange kyanite bridges the sacral chakra to the highest configuration and connection to their dharmic template. Green kyanite rapidly bridges the heart chakra very quickly to, once again, the dharmic alignment template. Then blue kyanite rapidly bridges the neural pathways to the highest configuration in alignment with one's dharmic template as well as neural pathway recalibration to have the interference of the right and left hemispheres being harmonized and unified for an awakened third eye, essentially. So that's just them on a more personal aspect. The kyanite spectrums also work as another layer of etheric Teflon to auto-regulate the energy for the transference to be very reactive situationally requirement-wise, to make a very dynamic shift range for whatever the situation the wielder finds himself in his jurisdiction of service. So the kyanites are quite amazing and truly exceptional because kyanite also works so rapidly that it actually does not store any negativity because it bridges things so quickly. It is a quintessential frequency bridger in the mineral kingdom to make the transference of energy very effective. And the core of this entire guy is actually oak. once again, here from my backyard, to be a strong atomical dense core of this entire ambitious design would be the oak. Then, something that is actually installed here that's very rare to be installed in lightblade talismans, like seen, for example, this is a more standard kind of platform lightblade talisman. These guys actually, for a talisman, have crystalline focalizers to take the excess radiant energy and give it a focus of energy, which is usually not always necessary for a lightblade talisman. Since the talisman, of course, is designed to be a more passive, worn on the person, contained circuit, so to speak, to emanate in husbandry with their higher self blueprint while it's worn on the chest, to just resonate as a background program. This, of course, like I mentioned at least 20 times by now in this half hour, this is a very aggressive high yield device. So obviously the aspect of giving a focus of energy definitely makes it like a proper lightblade wand, but miniaturized for all intents and purposes, to be like a miniature crystal pistol basically. So this energy can also make a tremendous application focus of the radial figure eight and give it the focus of the energy actually a strong broadcast connection to discharge energy, just like a standard lightblade wand. So that makes it quite the ambitious talisman, to say the least. And also equipped with this talisman before it flies the nest is this lovely hip mount pouch. This guy is designed to actually go into a belt buckle around, so like so, snap in. So this guy can actually be worn on the hip for kind of like the Mickey Mouse sorcery points, if you would. Like a classic wizard of old would have a cool little magic pouch on his belt. So there you go. As well as it'd be a good way too to be able to have it, if it doesn't want to be worn or basically equipped on the person, there's options to have this in a hip mount pouch to contain its frequency, or just have it on the person to go about the endeavors without having to wear this very dynamic, large superconductor talisman. Alrighty, so in summary, the aspect of this abundance frequency of exotic nature is to be a very intense threshold boost of that exact nature of abundance manifest in a very dynamic, opulent, rather over-the-top spectrum, to be perfectly honest, to also be a flagship in the abundance ratio of the morphic field of the family of light tech. So for example, there's a good few of these guys around of the abundance spectrum, but this right here is taking that aspect and basically making a race car version of the standard abundance lightblade talisman to, God willing, break records of the possibilities of what magic can be done in the abundance of creation. Quite simply, as a summary. Well, I believe that'd be the conclusion of the abundance lightblade variation of extreme high potent nature. 1,000 blessings, and I pray that everybody has a great day.